Welcome into Mock Trial Masterclass, your guide to controlling the courtroom. I'm Luke and I want you to be a mock trial master. Let's talk about how you can make that happen. A question that I get all the time is, Luke, I'm about to try out for my high school or college mock trial team. How can I stand out? How can I make a great first impression in my tryout? So I thought what would be fun to do in this video is for me to go over the 5 things that I always look for as a coach when I'm watching a new student try out. And I would bet that a lot of this isn't exclusive to me. It's stuff that your coaches are going to be looking for when you try out. This is how to stand out. This is how to make a great first impression, and hopefully how to secure yourself a spot on the team. Before I hop into the list, I want to let you guys know that I'm, for the first time ever, conducting a Mock Trial Masterclass audience survey. I want to hear from you guys about what you want to see from the future of this channel, from me moving forward, what you don't like, what you do like, and you can take that survey by clicking the link in the description on YouTube or in the show notes on podcast platforms. And what I'll tell you is that one person who takes a survey is going to get picked to win a class set of copies of my book. You'll get 10 copies to do whatever you'd like with. Hopefully that'll be a big help to you. And the way to secure your chance to win that is by taking the survey. All right, let's hop in. My 5 things that I'm always looking for during tryouts at the beginning of the season. Number 1, and this is first for a reason because it's the absolute most important thing, confidence. I'm looking for confidence in new students above practically anything else. What I'm looking for is this student going to be really, really quiet and timid and kind of stiff and afraid to do anything? Or are they going to come in right from day one, this tryout, and be loud where I can hear them, be completely unafraid to move around and use all their abilities? You know, that's what I'm looking for really more than anything else. Confidence is one of the key traits of mock trial masters. I talk about it on here all the time. I talk about it in my book. It really, really sets you apart on game day when you go to competitions. But I gotta say, it also really, really sets you apart in your tryouts. From experience, a lot of students come into their mock trial tryouts almost apologetic. They come up and they do their thing and, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know that well, and they're really quiet and you can't hear them. And it's like, why is this person even trying out? Do they even know how to do public speaking? Now, what I will say is I've seen a lot of people who had that kind of tryout progress over the years to the point where they became just absolute studs at mock trial. But if I'm looking at a tryout from a first-time student and I've got one that's oozing confidence and one that just seems really, really nervous and uncomfortable, which one do you think I'm going to go with for the role that's being handed out? Obviously, it's going to be the one who displays confidence. So go be confident. I've got a video that I just made all about what confidence looks like in mock trial. I'll put a link to that in the description below. That's what you got to have first and foremost. Second thing I'm looking for is public speaking and acting skill. Notice I didn't say mock trial skill because I'm less interested in this tryout of do you know objections really well, do you know courtroom procedure really well. You're going to get there eventually. And while a baseline level is important, we'll talk about that more in a second, I'm not that concerned about you having this depth of knowledge about mock trial. What I am concerned about is, can you speak well in public, or if you're playing a witness, can you act well? So things that help lend to both of those things, first of all, confidence, like we talked about a minute ago. Volume really plays into that a lot, but also with your speaking, do you have a variety of tone? Are you monotone the whole time? Or do you get really excited and, oh, there's this big point, and now I'm going to break it down to this little thing, right? Do you have these advanced level public speaking skills? Do you have some natural talent in either one of those places? Are you a naturally compelling person to listen to, or frankly, are you kind of boring? Now, the good news is that those are areas where you can develop, where you can grow. So if you listen to that and went, gee, I kind of think I'm a boring speaker, I'm very nervous. You don't have to be a boring speaker. You're not resigned to that fate for all time. Go watch some great mock trial speakers. I've got a film sessions playlist where we watch some awesome opening statements and closing arguments together. Go watch one of those. Learn from those speakers. See what you can implement from their performances. Don't, be afraid to have volume. Don't be afraid to use movement to your advantage. The vocal variety that I was just talking about. Use pauses to your advantage too, right? All of this plays into your public speaking talent. And then with a witness, Am I able to believe, even in this first tryout, that you are that character that you're playing? Have you taken some of the details we know about this character and integrated them into your performance? You know, if this character says they're from Savannah, Georgia, and you're getting up talking in a British accent, I'm going to be very, very confused as to what is happening in that situation. But if you've been able to develop, you know, a Savannah Southern accent, and you know, that's going to be very compelling for me as a coach sitting there watching that. So above all, just remember, you know, you can develop this stuff. It's not all natural talent that you just wake up with. But it is something that I'm looking for, and it's something I think every coach is looking for. Do you have speaking talent? Do you have acting talent that we as coaches can coach you in the actual mock trial stuff and marry those two sides together to hopefully eventually in you create a top-notch performer? Next thing I'm looking for is your level of preparation. Do you know what you're doing? Now again, I don't need in-depth courtroom knowledge. I don't expect you to get up and have the rules of evidence memorized. But like, if I told you to give an opening statement, have you done enough to figure out what exactly that means? Or have you asked me for help and wanting to know what that means? Do you know what the difference between the plaintiff and the defense is? Right, that's the level of things I'm talking about. If you're sitting there watching this channel, my guess is you won't run into that problem because you're already invested, you're already studying, and that puts you so far ahead of the competition. But I have had students come into tryouts where it's like, do you even know how to tie a tie? Or did you even have someone else tie the tie for you? Like, can we at least start with that level? But if you come into the tryout and I get the sense that you've put no effort into this, that you have not prepared, you're kind of just reading something that you've written down that's not even that good, that you didn't try that hard at, I'm not going to be impressed by that, and no one is ever going to be impressed by that. Your level of preparation signals to your coach what they can expect out of you in the future. If you were lazy for this tryout that is deciding whether you're going to be on the team or off the team, then what am I supposed to expect that you're going to do once you're actually on the team? Whereas if you come into that tryout prepared, you know your stuff cold, it's not the greatest stuff in the world. You're not a mock trial superstar who knows everything about everything, but you put the work in, you have some level of courtroom procedural knowledge, and you've started on that track. I'm going to be really, really impressed and want you on my team. If you don't know where to start with getting that baseline knowledge, pick up a copy of my book, Mock Trial Masterclass. It's a great place to get started with learning the basics about, you know, what is an opening statement? What is a closing argument? What are some basics of courtroom procedure? What does all that look like? I call it the championship plan that anyone can understand because the words that I use in this book are not complicated. All the explanations are super simple. And it's a great way to get started if you're looking for a way to boost your next tryout for your next mock trial season. And you can pick up a copy by clicking the link in the description on YouTube or in the show notes on podcast platforms. Fourth thing I'm looking for in tryouts is, can you make adjustments on the fly? A lot of times when we do our tryouts, we have our students go through the course of an actual trial and I will be the judge. And sometimes I'll do things as the judge just to kind of force the students to think on their feet. And again, I recognize that these are newbies who don't have an in-depth level of mock trial knowledge. So that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for, well, did they do the correct technical thing in that situation? What I'm looking for is, when I gave them something they didn't expect, did they freak out and panic and completely melt to the ground? Or did they go, okay, let's try something else. Let's do something else. Even if I really don't know what I'm doing because I'm new at this, let's see what happens. You know, that kind of goes back to confidence, what we were talking about at the beginning. But the big thing I'm looking for is, can you roll with the punches? Because the reality is, rolling with the punches is so much of what makes up a talented, successful mock trial competitor as an attorney or as a witness. So if you get thrown a curveball in your tryout of some kind, roll with the punches, do your best, do it with boldness and confidence. I promise your coach is less concerned about do you do the correct thing in response, so much as you do something and you do it with some gusto, you do it with some boldness. That's at least what I look for, and it really sets apart a competitor who comes in for a tryout when they're able to nail that. All right, the fifth and final thing I'm looking for in mock trial tryouts when I watch them, when I'm making my decisions based on them, is what I would call archetypes. And what I mean by that is I'm oftentimes watching an attorney thinking to myself, What kind of attorney is this? Is this a highly intellectual attorney who I could see wind up doing expert directs? Is this someone who has a lot of personality that's going to really lean in and be great with character witnesses? I'm looking at it and saying, is this an opening statement attorney? Could this be a closing argument attorney? With witnesses, I'm looking and saying, is this someone I'm going to want playing a funny character? Is this someone I'm going to want playing a more dramatic character like a victim? Or is this someone who I could see more as an expert witness? I'm constantly thinking through those things watching tryouts because I'm always kind of vision casting and forward thinking with them. I'm much more concerned not about what's happening right now and what level of skill does this person have right now so much as based on their abilities, based on everything else we've already talked about in this video, what do I see their future being in mock trial? What kind of role do I see them fitting into? Now, a lot of times with this, my first impression is wrong. There have been plenty of times where I said, yeah, I think this person is going to be fill in the blank, and they wind up not being that and excelling at something else. But I will say a lot of the times those first instincts, those first impressions do turn out to be true, where I say, you know what, this person is going to be a great dramatic witness, and then a year down the road, they're excelling at that part. Because at this point, I've done this for a while. I kind of know what traits make for good performances at each of those positions, and that's just something that I am thinking through when I'm watching tryouts. But again, I'm thinking through all 5 of the things we went over in this list. And the good news is that outside of that 5th one, which is going to be more up to your coach's discretion, those first 4 things we looked at are things you can prepare for and get better at. Prepare. Don't come into your audition cold like you have no idea what's going on. Do some research. Watch some more Mock Trial Masterclass videos on this channel. Gain a little bit of courtroom knowledge. Go in there with some confidence, right? Be bold, have some volume, be loud, control the courtroom as best you can as a first-time competitor. Roll with the punches, respond to what's going on in the moment. All of those things are going to help you take your tryout to the next level and separate yourself from the others that are trying out and hopefully get a spot on the team. So you've got a tryout coming up. Put this stuff into practice, and then please come back and leave a comment below or send me an email at luke@mocktrialmasterclass.com letting me know how this goes for you. I'd love nothing more than to hear your success stories, and I know that there will be success stories if you put this stuff into practice.